Welcome to another adventure of the Exploring Club. Silly Gooses only.
Pew pew! Our first Albanian adventure.
Yeah, it was pretty early on. Yeah, we got all the goods and went over to rent a car.
Yeah, this was a very easy process. The rental car place is on the other block from us, and went in, gave her our international driver's license. I think it maybe took 15 minutes.
Yeah, you can just WhatsApp them, which is like texting them, and then they set it up, and you fill out a little bit of documentation and give them your, international driver's permit and things like that, passport, and it's pretty smooth. And then you're off and driving.
We're on the road. I think this car was 30 euros.
Yeah, 25 or 30 euros.
Honda something.
Yep.
And then you get it, and it's not like it's filled up. This is not like the usual case where it's full. This was, we maybe had half a tank of diesel or something in there, so then we stopped and actually put some more fuel in, but...
Yeah, which we really didn't need to.
Yeah, we just didn't know.
We didn't know how much it used or how much it was,
How big the tank was, so this is the first time us actually physically driving in Albania.
Yeah, it's pretty smooth. I thought it was pretty easy, honestly, the whole time.
Yeah, I think the only concern that we had was just that little bit of downtown driving and less about, for me it's less about the cars, it's more about now that we've been pedestrians for this long, we understood the concept that pedestrians just walk out at any given point and they kind of have the right of way all the time. Like, they say they have the right of way in the United States, not like this.
Yeah.
You'd get smacked in the US if you acted like they do here. But that was my concern, is like, we're not trained to be on the same kind of high alert for people just literally walking off the curb. So we certainly kept our eyes open for that.
And it takes a few minutes just to get out of that, and then you're on to where trees and countryside is. The town itself is larger, but not hard to get out of. And once you're out of it, you're out of it. I mean, it's in the rural areas. We were like, a lot of trees, a lot of different things, and we were headed towards the island.
Yeah, so that first area with all the trees is a forest near what they consider Old Beach, which we can barely see past the port from our house, our apartment. But it was way more forest than I had any expectation for. So I think that area will be cool to check out. But you get through that area, and then you get into the Narta Lagoon area. And
small little roads, and then you get to the monastery. That was a little bunker. There's tons of bunkers, though we don't see a lot of them, to be completely honest. There's tons of them throughout Albania, but we few or far between that we see here in Vlorë
on a daily basis.
And then you get to walk out to the monastery and check out the beautiful area.
Yeah. So this is Narta Lagoon. So this is the area, if you've done any Googling on where we're located, this is where one of the concerns with the new airport is the airport is located next to this lagoon. This lagoon is the home to many, lots of wildlife, but many flamingos.
Yeah.
But I mean,
the concern must be the flyway pathway, because the airport itself, as you'll see later in the video, is nowhere. It's close, I guess, in somewhat proximity, but it's about as close as our house is to the island.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not super close. It just must be the flyway.
Yeah. But yeah, this area was obviously much further away. It's much larger than I think we looked at, the maps of this whole area for so long. Mm-hmm. And then to actually be here and actually drive out there and see it and all that stuff, it's just so much more vast than I thought.
The lagoon is massive.
There's the lagoon, and then there's the salts area where they harvest all the salts, and it's just...
It has to be as big as the bay almost.
Huge, it's huge. So there's two parts of this decking. This is the main part, and then I think you kind of saw a little bit of the other part that was pretty dilapidated and needs a little love. Even this part needs a little bit of love, but just absolutely beautiful. And there was a kind of groundskeeper security person out there that I talked with a little bit, just to make sure you're not, messing anything up or taking pictures inside.
Yeah, the main thing is they just don't want you taking pictures inside because of the age of what's in there, because pictures and flashes can degrade things over time, and that's totally fine. So we respected that and went around the island. It's just a small little island, and I don't remember, is this like 12th to 15th century kind of situation? I honestly can't recall.
Yeah.
I think maybe 12th century was like the first time they started this little shindig. But yeah, it's a gorgeous area. Honestly, the videos and the pictures don't really do it justice, because it's just this like green little lush paradise and a very small thing. You could consider it like a oasis, because then right behind it is again just another giant forest, which is the rest of the island, which you can't really get into. It was kind of a locked gate. I assume they don't encourage people to go exploring around there. But yeah, it was really, really cool, really calm day.
Oh, so serene. And I think there were people, maybe 2 people leaving when we got there.
Yeah.
Didn't even see another person other than the security guy on the actual Monastery Island. It was just super calm. It was the most gorgeous day.
Yeah, it was really nice, and like she said, not a lot of tourists, so I'm sure in the next couple months there'll be a bunch of people going through it, but just a really nice, serene area that I think is worth checking out. It doesn't take long to get to. There's really no fee or anything around it. The biggest challenge would be just driving there, and there's just a one-way, basically, I would say bike path almost.
Yeah,
I mean,
next to the lagoon.
Yeah. So in and out, if there's another car coming, there's maybe some difficulties, but I think it was just fine, and I can understand why there's not a lot of infrastructure to it, because it's kind of out in a very rural area.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a gorgeous area, and it was very calm.
We had done some research to make sure that there wasn't any public transit buses or anything that took you out there. Then we talked about getting a taxi out there, but then, kind of holding your taxi guy hostage. And
yeah, it wouldn't have been a good call.
Then we had this thought, if we're going to rent a car, we do a whole day trip and do the monastery and also the castle that's just
candle
south
prayer
of us. So it worked out to be great. I think we left town at like 9 with the rental car. We were back home by 1.
3 maybe? Maybe it was 1.
We bought pizza and came home and had lunch.
Oh, yeah.
So it was very quick, but very relaxed. It's not like we were rushing or anything.
All of this stuff is super close. Like this drive was 10 minutes maybe, and then even to the other places we went to, maybe another 10, and then maybe 20, and then going around Okram was what took the longest amount of time. But all relatively accessible. I would say the biggest thing is always like understanding how you get there, and different pathways, especially as we head towards the castle a little later on in the video.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a nice calm area you could spend hours at just relaxing, if you wanted to. And there was some wildlife. We didn't see a ton around the monastery. Honestly, we saw, well, not the most flamingos, but there was a lot of flamingos when we first drove in, right, like in the corner.
Right by the entrance, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, flamingos and pelicans, and there were some other shorebirds. Obviously, there were some ducks there. But the flamingos weren't super close to where we were, but we could certainly see them. So that was really exciting. That was something that I really wanted to see. So yeah, then we drove through Zrevnik?
Yeah.
Zrevnik?
Yep.
To get, I guess,
kind of around back to where the main drag is to head north, because we wanted to see the salt flats and more of the flamingos.
Yeah.
And then drove down Utility
No
road
maintenance.
is not probably the correct term. I mean, I was a little worried about the car at this point because there were just so many potholes. But it's like at the edge of where the lagoon is and where the salt flats are. So,
Yeah, I wouldn't
not
say
sure you're supposed to be out there even. No one was stopping us certainly, but we got some really cool shots of the flamingos, and there was tons of flamingos and pelicans out there. This is pretty far north of where the monastery is. That's the airport.
Yeah.
And then we hopped in the car and we're headed towards the castle.
Yes, so the path that we took to get up to the castle, since Narta and Zrevnik is north of us, and the castle is kind of southeast of us. When I say us, our apartment. So we actually kind of drove back into Vlorë and then started going up the mountain. There's only so many roads. You know, when you look at a map and you're like, oh, the distance isn't that far between here and there, and then you look at where the roads are and how long it takes you to drive them, you're like, oh,
yeah,
that's not 10 minutes, that's 45 minutes because of the mountains and all of that stuff.
Yeah, but it was pretty short. I mean,
for sure.
the Bay Area is pretty flat, and we just took kind of a roundabout way to head up the mountain closer to on the back side of where it's located. Once we got out of town again, it was a nice, calm drive, simple. Some of the nicest roads I've seen, honestly.
Holy cemetery.
Yeah, very big cemetery. But yeah, the roads up here and around this area were
almost new.
Shockingly nicer than
they
all the
very
roads
new.
I've seen in and around Vlorë.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool to see the different, there would be like small villages, you know, like houses together, and then there'd be some farms, and then there'd be some...
Couple lakes.
Yep, couple lakes.
But their rural areas are very rural. Yep. I mean, it's, it's like thinking about being out in the Midwest where farms are and stuff like that. Out in the middle of nowhere.
There'd be some greenhouses, a lot of goats, sheep. There's not a lot of cattle that we saw.
No.
Or pigs. It's goats and sheep.
Definitely olives. We know our olive guy does his olives not too far out of town.
Yeah,
so.
somewhere actually up here probably.
Yep. But yeah, I mean, nice, beautiful area, mountains in the background, and once you start getting higher up, the coast gets to be pretty nice. Some pretty great views.
We just started climbing, and the vantage point just kept getting further and further away, and we just kept climbing, and then the climb got steeper and steeper.
yeah, it's very steep, but the roads were nice. So that made it good. It was just the car. I was like, oh, I don't know about this car for mountain driving, but it did just fine ultimately.
Yeah.
But yeah, the castle, as you can see, way up in that shot. We're now trying to figure out how you actually get up to it, because there's a couple different descriptions on how you do it. None of them, I would say, are certain. I think we took one of the routes, maybe. I think you're supposed to park and walk up, but it was also noted to us that you could drive up. And so I was like, hey, let's give it a go. And we just kept going, and I was like, I don't know if we're supposed to be here, and we just kept going further and further, and ultimately we ended up parking right by the castle, where some people were working on it because they're currently rehabilitating areas of it. So they got some guys out there working, but yeah, we're right down from this. There's we'll call it a parking lot. I don't know about that. But
a hill with a little bit of gravel sprinkled on.
There's a bunch of boys working on stuff, and none of them said anything. So I think it was just like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
And then it's just a very short walk up.
Again, I think there were two gentlemen there when we got there. They left. By the time we left, there was another family that had gotten dropped off by a taxi, but otherwise we had the place to ourselves. So this was a perfect time for us to go and have the place completely to ourselves. We didn't feel like we were rushing, didn't feel like we were in anybody's way. We could kind of wander around.
There's a nice little town in and around this area. There's a restaurant that people keep saying we should eat at, which we probably will at some point. Parking, I have no idea. But as you can see, the shot...
Leave your car in Vlorë and come up.
Yeah, just walk up the mountain. But parking's always an interesting prospect here, as it is with any big area.
I was smitten. There was some... I heard jingling, so I knew there was a mountain goat somewhere. They were... Not mountain goats, but they were on the mountains with their mountain goats.
Yep.
Their little collars were jingling as they were eating the hedges.
And you can see those mountain roads. We're going to drive on those a little sooner because a lot of the roads, especially going to like the coast, stay along the coast. This is a pretty cool cutout that we found that a lot of people take pictures at and things like that. But yeah, it was a really cool spot. Again, really no, besides getting there, that's it.
Yeah. I think it was every adventure, not even adventure, even when I go downtown, I discover this every time. The reliance that we have on websites, Google reviews, Google listings, it's a very different experience here than it is back home. So we are people lose their mind if, hours were wrong or, something was wrong on Google or your website doesn't have your updated menu or whatever it is. It's like here, it's kind of like detective work where, I think of Regina Rooftop, like that was an Instagram post that somebody else posted.
Zoom in on where we live.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So just like this, you'd think a site like this, historic site would have website, how do you get there, what to expect, accessibility, where do you park, history information. It just doesn't work like that.
No, there's definitely information.
For sure.
It's just not like specific information.
It's not the same expectation that we have.
That's the restaurant I think we're eventually going to eat at again. You don't see
much
parking.
Or mule.
Maybe a little to the right of it, but everybody talks about it. It's like, I don't know. I think the views are nice. You could certainly eat there and look at more views, but yeah, you drive through this town to because we did end up driving all the way around because we wanted to check out Okram and then drive back up the coast. So yeah, I would say that was my least favorite part of the trip. It was cool to see this stuff.
Area.
I was not impressed with Okram and the drive back. It was interesting to see the massive amounts of development and just wondering when that will all be finished. I think in 5-10 years this place will look entirely different, maybe for good or bad, but with a lot of new developments as far as hotels and stuff like that. But it's just like the whole coast as we drove up was pretty much a new development being built. But this backside of the mountain area was gorgeous.
Yeah.
I'm excited for us to do some more, not specifically mountain driving alongside this, but like when you go further in, just really calm and open and very nice.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okram was, I think the thing that was surprising is we have construction here, even on the Lungomare next to us. We have that huge development that's coming in.
Little pizza stop.
And it still feels like there's this existing community and then there's just these little isolated pieces of new or renovation that are happening. Mm-hmm. This feels like they blew up the town.
Yeah.
And
rebuilding all of
rubble, and then we're just starting from scratch.
Yeah. The whole side of the bay as you head up the road is all new construction on new resorts and stuff like that.
Yeah. So it's certainly famed for beach, calm waters, all of that. So it's certainly more of a, I would say, resort area, even than for us. Like they talk about those beaches being great and pristine and the water and all that stuff. But it was just another reiteration that we're happy where we are.
Yeah, we really like our location. And again, in Okram in 10 years, probably, it's going to be very nice. I still don't understand the logistics of getting people places. And once you're there, you're kind of there. But again, very nice areas. I think we loved the castle and the lagoon and the monastery. So
we recommend it.
All right. Well, that's another adventure. Remember, Silly Gooses only.